Good evening, one and all. Thank you for joining us in this second session of our topic mechanical injuries. Put on the PowerPoint, please. So, last class we have been dealing with mechanical injuries, especially blunt force injuries. In that, we have covered two major injuries. One is an abrasion, another one is a contusion, otherwise called bruising. So, today's class we are going to deal with laceration, followed by incised wound and stab wound, which are sharp force injuries. Next slide, please. So again, I'm for your familiarity, I'm classifying injuries legally. Mechanical injuries are classified as simple injury and grievous injury. Medico-legally, it is classified as suicidal, homicidal, based on the manner of causation of injuries. And medical classification is mechanical, thermal, chemical, and others category. Today we are dealing with mechanical injuries. Next slide, please. In the blunt force injury, we classify this into three types mechanical injuries. One is a blunt force injury caused by blunt objects. It may be any blunt material. It can be a weapon, it can be an object, or it can be a surface. So, in the blunt force, abrasion and contusion that we have covered in the last session, today's class is about laceration. Next slide, please. Laceration. Laceration is simply, if you call it, is a tear or a split in the produced by application of blunt force, which crushed or stretched tissues beyond the limits of their elasticity. Tissues can withstand some amount of force if it is crushed or stretched, but if it is beyond that limit, it tears into irregularly. It tears irregularly. Here is an example. That photograph shows an example how it is torn. Next slide, please. So, what are the types of laceration? Split one is a split laceration, two stretch laceration, three avulsion laceration, four tearing laceration, five cut laceration. There are five types of laceration. You should understand laceration is a irregularly torn injury. Laceration, we mean it is irregular. The edges are and the margins are irregular. It is crushed. So that is why the tissue tears. It may be skin, it may be muscle, it may be any tissues. Any internal organ can lacerate. Any part of the skin may lacerate. These are all the five types of laceration we have coming across. This is a laceration. It's commonly seen in road traffic accident or any type of accident. Irregular margins. The margins are irregular. The underlying tissues may be exposed. Next slide, please. This is laceration over the scalp. Because of the bone is very close to the skin, underlying bone is very close to the skin, it tears like a split. It tears like a split. I mean, and it looks like an incised wound, cut injury when you look from far, but you look closer, the injuries are irregular. The margins are irregular. This is an example for scalp laceration. Next slide, please. This is also another example over the scalp area only. It looks like an incised wound or it looks like a cut injury produced by a sharp weapon, but if you look closer, you know the irregularity. Unless you go close to the injury or you look into the injury for some time, then only you know that it is crushed. The margins are very much irregular. It won't be clean cut like a cut injury. As I told you earlier, the liver also can be crushed. If there is a blunt trauma to the right side of upper part of abdomen, the liver may lacerate. This is an example for liver laceration. So you should understand the internal organs also may lacerate if the force applied is more. Next slide, please. So, what is the medico-legal importance? It indicates the nature of the weapon. It indicates the nature of the weapon. The weapon may be known. It may be a rod or a stone or any other blunt weapon. And time of injury. This by the appearance. If it is bleeding, bright red in color, there is a swelling. All these indicates time of injury. Shape of the weapon. Suppose you are hit by the hammer in your finger or any part of the body. The round nature of the hammer, head of the hammer may be seen on the injury. So shape of the weapon can be known. Then foreign body indicates the circumstances of crime. For example, a mud particles are seen in the wound in the lacerated area, or paint is seen in the lacerated area. So it connects with the crime scene. Next slide, please. So I summarize the laceration. Laceration is a injury. It is included in blunt force. So it is a irregular tear or split in the tissues. So it is, if the tissues are crushed and torn, it causes laceration. There are 5 types of laceration we have seen. This is the commonest blunt force injury we come across. Doctors, we used to suture this injury if somebody falls down while cycling or in motorcycle accidents. So this is the commonest injury where the skin is lacerated. So we suture this wound to make it the for healing faster. So commonest suturing is the injury laceration. Come next one. So we have seen 3 types of blunt force injury: abrasion, contusion, and laceration. I am leaving out fracture because we will deal with that fracture separately in a coming classes. So I'm moving on to sharp force injury. Sharp force injury are injuries caused by any sharp weapon. It may be a knife, it may be a sword, it may be a scalpel, it may be any sharp cutting weapon or object. It is not only weapon, it is any object also. So these are mechanical injuries produced when body tissue is pressed or struck by an instrument or weapon having sharp, linear, or pointed edges. Examples are knife, scalpel, axe, chopper. So what happens? Breach of continuity of tissues without loss of substance. There is no tissue loss. It only cuts the surface of any skin or internal organs. It bleeds freely and fairly. It bleeds freely and fairly because the vessels are cut. So this is a photograph is an example of cut injury. We call it incise wound because cut by small knife or blade or anything. You can see the margins are clean cut. The margins are clean cut. The angles at the end, both ends, are acute in nature. Sometime you may see a tailing, but here incise wound we mean it is a clean cut injury by a sharp weapon. The length of the wound is more than the depth of the wound. Other dimension. The length of the wound is more than the breadth of the wound and the depth of the wound. Next slide, please. So a surgeon during surgery incises a tissue, maybe a skin or organ, anything. It is also included under cut injury. Next slide, please. So what are the features of incise wound? Margins. So margins are regular. Margins are irregular in laceration. Margins are regular in incise wound. It is clean cut and well defined. It is a well defined injury, clean cut injury. Margins are regular. So the length in incise wound, the length is the greatest dimension among the 3 dimensions. It is the greatest dimension is the length of the injury. Breadth of the wound is much wider than the breadth of cutting edge because of the elasticity, the both sides of the tissue widens. So it is not as the breadth of the weapon. Next slide, please. So shape of the incised wound. Usually, the incised wounds are more or less spindle or fusiform in shape. It is spindle shaped. Bleeding. Regarding the bleeding in the tissues, if a part of the body is incised, as blood vessels are clean cut, there will be free profuse bleeding with spurting, because the blood vessels are cleanly cut, there will be lot of bleeding. Severe bleeding may lead to death. Always remember in which part of the body the blood vessels are seen. If that area is cut or incised, there will be excessive bleeding. For example, in the neck area, incised wound in the neck area, the person bleeds profusely. Incised wound in the wrist, the person bleeds profusely. So wherever there is blood vessels, either veins or arteries, if that part of the body is incised, bleeding is severe. If medical help is not sought immediately, the person may die of bleeding, excessive bleeding. So it corresponds to the size of the blood vessel. Larger big vessels, if it is cut, a person may bleed and die in few minutes. If smaller vessels are cut, he may survive for longer time. So regarding the direction and depth of incised wound, depth is more at the starting point as more pressure is exerted. So usually in the beginning, while person starts to cut, the depth is more. Then he withdraws the weapon, so it comes superficially. Towards the end, the cut becomes shallow until it becomes a scratch known as tailing of wound. A person starts to incise or starts to cut. Initially, it is deeper. Then he withdraws the weapon. While withdrawing, at the last end or to the near to the surface, there will be a tailing that indicates the position of the victim or the withdrawal direction of the weapon. The depth of the wound with its tailing indicates the direction. So the depth is first, then tailing is the end. So the withdrawal point is the tailing. So what is the medico-legal importance of incised wound? Incised wounds are mostly suicidal. Incised wounds, if you see incised wounds in all part of the body, back of the body or any part of the body, initially you have to suspect homicidal. Then relative, what all we can know from the incised wound? Relative position of victim and assailant can be known. How we can know this position of the victim and the assailant? By the tailing. The depth is at the beginning, and the end is tailing. So tailing indicates the person's withdrawing the weapon from the body. So we can roughly calculate the position of the victim and the assailant with the help of the tailing of the wound. Type of weapon used can be assessed. What type of weapon is used? So it's a broader weapon or a heavy cutting weapon. All these can be known. So there are some other modified forms of incised wound is there, which gives us more information. This is also incised wound, but we name it differently because it gives us some clue about the manner of death, whether it is suicidal. So since it is gives us a clue about the manner of death, and we have named it as hesitation cuts or tentative cuts. This is also cuts. Cuts is incised wound, but we are giving a name hesitation or tentative. So the what? How does it look like? It is multiple, small, superficial, more or less parallel cuts. Notice over the accessible parts. This you should remember. Accessible parts of the body at the beginning of the incised wound. In suicidal cut injuries, over the neck area or on the wrist area or on the elbow area. So you see, initially when a person wants to cut himself, I think suicidal, I mean suicidal. So he doesn't cut at a one stroke. He doesn't cut his neck at a one stroke or his wrist at a one stroke. He will initially hesitate to cut himself because it is painful. He knows the consequences. So initially he will hesitate and he will make some superficial cuts, which are multiple, small, superficial, and parallel. So it is where it is seen, it is seen in the accessible parts of the body. So sites where it is seen, it is usually seen over the neck area, wrist, elbow, front of chest and abdomen. That's what we mention accessible parts of the body. And which hand it is. If it's a right-handed person, the injury is more commonly seen on the left side of the body. If it's a left-handed person, these injuries are seen commonly over the right side of the body. Next slide, please. So this is the photographs showing hesitation cuts. Initially, it will be multiple, parallel, linear, and superficial. Then the right side picture shows some cuts are superficial, some cuts are deep. Usually only one cut will be deeper, all the other cuts will be superficial. If you see multiple hesitation cuts, which are parallel, linear, and superficial, you can very well say it is hesitation or tentative cuts. Next slide, please. So this is also cut injury. Where it is seen? It is seen in the wrist area. This is also hesitation cuts. Usually one will be deeper. Yeah. This is another form of incised wound. These are also special forms of incised wound. Incised wound may mean cut injury. In that, there are special categories which help us in throwing more light at, we can find out the manner of injury, how it is caused. Hesitation cuts tells us it is suicidal cut injury. This defense injury tells us that it is homicidal injury. So what happens? A person comes to attack another person by a sharp weapon. What this person will do? He will try to defend himself. How he will defend himself? By protecting by his hands. He will hold the weapon or he will try to block the weapon. Most of the time he will try to hold the weapon. So otherwise he will block the weapon from sustaining cut injury to his face or neck or chest. So in the process, he will sustain some injuries in the hands. These are called defense wounds. Any injury resulting while defending himself, we call it defense injury or protective wound. Results from victim's spontaneous instinctive reaction towards self-protection. When the defense wound comes during self-protection. Defense wound will be absent when the victim was unconscious due to drinking, drug, or disease. A conscious person will try to defend himself if a person attacks with a sharp weapon. When he is not in a position to defend himself, whether if he is unconscious or fully drunk or he is drugged or he has some debilitating diseases. In that situation only, he may not be in a position to defend himself. So when the hands were there in the trouser pocket at the time of attack, or both hands are tied, or is unable to pull out his hands when required. So defense wound suggests homicide. When you will sustain an injury, if somebody else attacks you, then only you will sustain an injury. Next slide, please. So these are all cut injuries. We named it as defense injuries because in the process of defending himself, he has gripped the weapon. So see the incised wounds in all three fingers. Next slide, please. This is another example. So yes, he is trying to hold the weapon. So in the process, all fingers he had a cut injury. Direction is same. Incised wound in his ring finger, middle finger, and index finger. All showed these defense injuries. Incised wound in the palm fingers. it is a defense wound. So the manner is homicidal. So in the court of law, when we depose in these murder cases, we write this injury especially in the beginning or at the end, and we will highlight it as a defense injury. So it definitely it says it is homicidal in nature. It is self-explaining. If you see a defense injury, it is homicidal in nature. So the second sharp force injury we are going to see today is about stab wound. Stab wound also is due to sharp weapon. So stabbing is produced when a pointed weapon or object or instrument forcibly thrust into the skin and muscle underneath. The wound can be produced either from the weapon being driven into the body or when the body presses or falls against the weapon. I would like to tell you one thing. It is not only the weapon which can cause a stab wound. Any object which is sharp can cause stab wound. Another thing, another person need not pierce the weapon into your body. Even if this person falls on the weapon also, he can sustain the injury. So you should know causation either way, either by the person, somebody else is stabbing him, or this person who sustaining the injury falls on a sharp object also causes this stab injury. Next slide, please. So stab wounds are will be termed as penetrating, which after passing through body tissues, it enters into a natural body cavity like thoracic, abdominal, or joint cavity. So only wound of entrance. So weapon may enter the body, but it may not exit. So it is a penetrating wound. If it exits the body, we call it a perforating wound. So if you have only wound of entrance, it is a penetrating injury, where it is usually seen in the thoracic cavity, in the abdominal cavities. The weapon will enter, but it will not go through the other side because the weapon is small. Perforating wounds. This is through and through injuries. It entered the body and exited the body. Entrance wound is seen, exit wound is seen. It it pierces the body through and through, goes inside and comes outside, having wound of entrance at one end and wound of exit at the other end. Wound of entrance is bigger with inverted margins. Wound of exit is smaller with everted margins. It is obvious. When a wound of entrance is usually large, wound of exit is usually small and everted. Entrance is inverted. So this is a perforating injury. You see entrance wound and exit wound. Next slide, please. So what are the features of stab wound? Length may be same as the breadth of the blade of weapon. It may be same. The length may be same as the blade of the knife. For example, knife. Breadth of the wound may not approximate with each other because of gapping. If gapping is there, the breadth won't be as the size of the weapon. Langerhans lines of cleavage alter the width of the stab wound. Stab wound, next slide please. Depth is greatest of all three dimensions. So I have told you in incise wound, length of the wound is the greatest dimension in incise wound. Whereas in stab wound, it is the depth of the wound. If the depth of the wound is more than the length and the breadth of the wound, we call this a stab wound. So it is more or less equal, or at times maybe less than the length of the blade of the weapon. So it is many a times it is equal to the blade of the size of the weapon in a knife. In sometimes, like in the places of abdomen, it can cause more depth because of the yielding surface. So remember, stab wound, the depth is more because the weapon enters the body at a perpendicular angle. Next slide, please. How does the margin look like? The margins will be regular, like in the incised wound, clean cut, like in the incised wound, and will be gapping. Usually, the breadth will be more than the breadth of the weapon because of elasticity. So it will be gapping. The margins will be irregular and uneven. The margins will be irregular and uneven when weapon has blunt edges. So if the weapon has got a edges or blunt, it can be uneven. But usually the margins will be regular, clean cut, and the wounds are gaping. That you remember, it is enough. Direction may help to determine the relative position of the victim and assailant at the material time. The direction, when a person stabs another person, the weapon enters in one direction. It may be through and through, or it may go laterally, or it may go medially, or it may go upwards, or it may go downwards. So if you can track the wound of a stab wound, you can tell the direction of the entry of weapon. Obviously, you can tell the position of the assailant also. If we can find out the direction of the stab wound, usually we track the stab wound and find out where it entered and where it is the tip is seen. So that is the direction of the entry of the weapon. From there only the assailant must be standing. So here is an example for stab wound. So when you look at a stab wound, you will not know the depth of the stab wound. Initially, you will be knowing only the length and the breadth of the wound. Only when you explore the wound, you will know the depth of the wound. So that is why the stab wounds in the abdomen and chest are misleading. You have to do investigation. If you suspect a stab wound, you have to do further investigation. We in during postmortem examination, we can explore, we can open layer by layer and find out all details. But during treatment, if the person is alive after sustaining a stab wound, you have to be very extremely careful. That is why identifying a stab wound is important. The stab wound may be very small, maybe 0.5 into 0.5, looking length and the breadth. The depth may be 5 centimeter or 7 centimeters. So the length may be 1 centimeter, breadth may be 0.5 centimeter, but the depth may be 8 centimeters. So remember, if you suspect a stab wound, the damages are more. So you have to assess the wound depending on the region in the body. Stab wound, stab by double-edged weapon, single-edged weapon. I mean, one end of the weapon is sharp. The appearance of the stab wound, that blunt edge will not be that much sharp. The sharp end, that end of the weapon will have acute angle. The blunt end will have a larger angle or a blunt angle. This is an example for double-edged weapon where both the sides are acute, both angles are acute. Next slide, please. So here is an example for single-edged weapon. The first picture shows single-edged weapon. The cutting edge is 1. So you can see how does it enter. So it tapers from above downwards. Single-edged weapon, it tapers from above downwards. One edge is blunt, the other angle is acute. In a double-edged weapon, both side the angles are acute. In a double-edged weapon, both ends are acute angle. In a star-shaped weapon, it shows a diamond-shaped outside. It looks like a diamond shape. So the another screwdriver type, another fork. All these leave the stab wounds in this shape. So remember, a stab wound usually the shape depends on the object or the weapon causing the stab wound. So whether it is single edged or double edged or the pointing surface only matters. This is an example for stab wound. So single edged weapon. So that first photograph shows it was withdrawn irregularly in a different angle. That is why it looks different, but it is single edged. One end is acute. The one end of the injury has a acute angle. That is that is why one is called single edged, the other is called double edged. Both ends are acute. The second photograph, the both ends are acute. Next slide, please. These are all examples for suicide. There is a a type of suicide seen in Japan mainly. So in other countries also it is seen. It is an unusual type of suicide. They have the weapon in front of the abdomen and they pump it inside the abdomen, stab inside the abdomen. They are conscious. They want to commit suicide. They're determined people who give their life for some purpose. So they commit suicide by this way. You might have seen in movies, English movies. So this is called harakiri. Harakiri is an unusual type of suicide. So direction below upwards seen in Japanese. Below abdomen they will stab from the entry point is low and the direction will be upwards. Wounds produced by falling forwards upon a ceremonial sword. It is a that also is possible. A weapon is placed in the floor or anywhere. This person falls forward on the to the weapon, and that's also a form of suicide. Next slide, please. So here this picture shows multiple stab wounds. Usually people with multiple stab wounds are seen, various dimensions are seen. You can see it indicates homicide. How it is indicating homicide? Because it is seen in non-accessible areas also. It is clustered of many directions. A person who want to stab himself will not stab this many times in this many regions, this many type of stabs. So by looking at itself, the distribution, the size, the shape, the location, will be able to come to a conclusion that it is homicide. Next slide, please. So this is in the obviously it is in the inaccessible area, parts of the body, multiple stab wounds over inaccessible parts of the body. So it is a homicide. The person accused may be a mentally ill person. Next slide, please. So brutal murder, stabbing multiple times over the back of the body in various places with the same weapon. So shape suggest the type of weapon. I told you single edged, double edged, pointed, all those things. Fork type, scissors type, various types of weapon. Screwdriver type, all. The size and shape will suggest you the weapon. Depth suggests force applied and intention. How the depth, if a weapon is used to stab a person forcibly, it reaches the maximum depth. The depth of the weapon only produces maximum damage. If the depth is less, so damage is limited. If the depth is more, the damage is more. So the force applied tells the intention of the person accused. It is intention is to kill a person or to injure him so badly. So relative position of victim and assailant can be deduced. So I told you about the direction of stab wound. The direction of stab wound tells you where the accused was standing, where the victim was standing, or what whether they were standing or they're in a different posture at the time of sustaining these injuries can be known by the direction of injury. If you track the direction of the stab wound, you can come to a conclusion where the accused was placed and the victim is lying down. The age of injury for time of assault. So age of injury can be roughly calculated, whether it is bleeding or the blood is clotted or there may be spurting of blood. All this tells us a time of sustaining the injury. We call it age of injury. There is another photograph showing stab injuries. The length and breadth is small, the depth is more. The right side is the cut injury over the wrist, left hand side injury. Here it is on the sides of the chest. Stab injuries, depth is more. Here it is also a stab wound, but you see another impression at the bottom of the injury. That is the hilt or the handle, impression of the handle. Same thing you can see in a firearm injury. If there is a contact shot, you may see the weapon touching the body surface. Here there is a hilt in the weapon, So that has blocked its further entry. So that causes a impression over the body. This is stab wound with a hilt. This is also incise wound, but the only difference is the weapon is heavy. Here, with a heavy cutting weapon is used, the wound gaps. The gapping of the wound in a muscular area, we call this a chop wound. So we have three sharp force injury. One is a incised wound. If the small weapon, the cutting edge is small and the heavy weight of the weapon is small, we call incised wound. If the weapon is heavy, we call chop wound. This is also incised wound, but due to the heaviness of the weapon, it gaps. That is why we call this a chop wound. So this is also like here also the length is more. Wounds produced by fairly heavy weapons like axe, hatchet, big sword, with not so sharp but somewhat blunt, and because it is heavy, the margins will be ragged, abraded, and contused. If the weapon is not very sharp, the margins can be abraded or contused. The dimension of wound will roughly correspond to the cross section of cutting edge. The dimension is a cross section of because heavy cutting weapon. Usually injuries are homicidal and fatal. If heavy cutting weapon is used in the areas of the body, especially over the neck or over the limbs, it cuts so deeply and it cuts all the tissues, including the blood vessels, nerves, joints, bones also it may cut. So if a person is assaulted with a heavy cutting weapon, the damage is more, bleeding is more, and it is homicidal in nature and likely to be fatal. So the smaller version is incised wound, a bigger version is a chop wound. The weapon is small in incised wound, weapon is large, big in chop wound. This is an example for chop wound. Chop wound over the neck, homicidal, instantly homicidal. He will die in few minutes. There itself he will die because all the blood vessels are severed. So it is the example for chop wounds. Next slide, please. Next slide, please. Chop wound is caused by heavy cutting weapon. So I summarize. We have seen three types of injuries. One is a laceration, which is a part of blunt force injury. Laceration is a part of blunt force injury. So first, in the previous session, we have covered abrasion and contusion. Today, we have covered laceration. So that is part of blunt force injuries. And adding to that, we have seen three types of sharp force injury. One is a incised wound, which is a caused by light cutting sharp weapon. Then at the end, we have seen chop wound, which is also like incised wound, but a heavier weapon is used. Heavy cutting weapon is used. In the muscular area, the wound gaps. That's why it is called a chop wound. If in a cut injury, if the wound is gapping, we call it a chop wound. So only the weapon differs. The big weapon is used and the heavy weapon is used, you get a chop wound. If a smaller weapon is used, you get a incised wound. Incised wound like a knife, or if a surgeon using a scalpel. So stab wound, that is if it is used over the surface of the body, either by drawing the weapon on the surface of the body or chopping the surface of the body. In a stab wound, the wound is used perpendicularly. A person uses a sharp weapon or an object to stab another person. The damage is more because in stab wound, the depth is more. If the stab wound is seen over the chest, abdomen area, the damage is more because of the cavity. There may be two types of stab wounds. One may be perforating, another may be penetrating. In the cavities like thorax and abdomen, the only entrance wound is seen. It is a penetrating injury. If both entry and exits are seen, it is a perforating injury because the weapon has gone inside and come out of the body. Only one injury, one entrance wound is seen, it is a penetrating injury. It is seen in cavities only. In other areas, depending on the consistency of the body tissues. So, light cutting weapon in a sharp weapon is used inside wound. Cutting a sharp weapon but heavy, it is chop wound. If the weapon is driven into the body, it is a stab wound. So in all these cases, the margins are clean cut and regular. In incised wound, you can see both ends. With a single edged weapon, you see one end of the wound will be angle will be acute, other end it will be blunt. If double edged weapon, both ends are acute angles. In a stab wound, the depth is misleading. You can see only the length and the breadth. So you have to assess the wound properly to estimate the damage caused or the bleeding seen inside the cavity. Thank you. If you have any doubts, kindly clarify and type in the given link. Thank you very much.